season. The Reds hope the fireworks begin on the field, though, as they welcome in the Miami Marlins. First of three, it's Reds baseball Friday night style coming up on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi again, everyone, with Chris Welsh, Jim Day. You know, these Marlins, like the Reds, struggled early on in the season here. And as you look at our Alkanauk storylines, Chris, this is certainly a much different-looking Marlins team than we saw a year ago.
Well, obviously, I mean, the Marlin fans are wondering what happened to the core of our team. The problem was they kept them together for a long, long time. And they continued to have losing records. So what they did, they jettisoned some big-time players out of here, like Giancarlo Stanton, like Christian Yelich, like Marcell Ozuna, and Dee Gordon. Those are the guys, the fiber of this ball club, that were costing the Marlins a lot of money, and it gave Marlins fans a reason to be a Marlin fan. Now they're asking their fans to stick with them while they rebuild.
On the mound, it's a righty versus lefty matchup. For the Reds, they'll give the ball to big righty Sal Romano. Now, have we seen signs of what the Reds hope is to come?
Well, I mean, you hope so. When you've got a young pitcher like Sal Romano, you're going to be good for a couple of games. You're going to have a bump in the road. You're going to be good again, and so on. You know, he would like to duplicate what he did a couple of starts ago against the Atlanta Braves and go a little deeper into a ball game. Last time he didn't quite get that done. He's not a high strikeout guy. And tonight, I think the matchup for Romano, it favors him a little bit because of all the right-handed hitters in this Marlin lineup. That slider of his is going to be very effective tonight if he can get it down to the right spot.
Reds will get the first look at left-hander AT CIN tonight, as he'll make only his second start of the season.
Well, he's had a bad elbow, and not just this year, but in years past as well. A young man actually that had been recommended to have Tommy John surgery, and he said, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to rehab that. So he's not an overpowering pitcher. He's got about 4 different pitches that he throws, mainly the fastball on the outside lane to right-handers. That's where he likes to live. He's got good control.
You can probably tell Chris is extra pumped up about tonight's game. It is Star Wars night at the ballpark, and dare I say, and probably heard this 1,000 times today, may the 4th be with you. Shannon Ford has the story next.
is brought to you by Chevy. Check out our award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good, it's Skyline time.
Looks like we'll be able to get in the Reds game today, even though we do have the chance for some lingering showers and even some thunderstorms for the first part of the game. So around 7:30, maybe even up to 8 o'clock, we could have some lingering showers. But throughout the game, we'll see temperatures fall through the 70s. It'll still be okay, a little breezy at times, but we'll hit about 67 by the end of the game with drying conditions, a little bit of partial clearing. Let's go Reds.
Welcome back to Great American Ballpark. I'm Shannon Ford. Tonight, the Cincinnati Reds will take on the Miami Marlins for Game 1. But first, may the 4th be with you. It's Star Wars night here at the ballpark, and that means you'll see a lot of those famous Star Wars characters throughout the evening. We'll also catch up with many of the Cincinnati Reds on who their favorite Star Wars characters are. We've even got the mascots dressed up. It's going to be a very, very, very fun night. When we come back, the Reds will take on the Fish. Jim and Chris with more.
It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
The pride of Evansville, Indiana, Don Mattingly, still the skipper for the Marlins as we begin this 3-game set here at Great American Ballpark. Third season as Marlins manager. There you see the record overall, and here's how Donnie Baseball will line them up. Lineup brought to you by Nissan. Derek Dietrich will lead it off. JT Realmuto batting second. Starlin Castro, the former Cub, batting third. Justin Bohr, Brian Anderson, the rookie. Martin Prado at third base. Miguel Rojas at shortstop. Lewis Brinson batting eighth in center field. And on the mound, Wei-In Chin. For Sal Romano, 24 years of age. He will make his third career appearance against the Marlins here tonight, trying to get back in the win column.
Well, he's 1-3 overall, Sal is, and some of that is due to not having much in the way of run support. He's pitched a few pretty good ball games, like the one win that he had against Atlanta. 6 innings of 1 earned run baseball. He's not a guy that walks a lot, usually not a guy that strikes out a lot, but he's got a whole lineup full of right-handed hitters here against the the Marlins tonight, of course, except for the leadoff hitter here, but that slider is going to be very important to him. He'll be able to pitch down and away, and he likes that first base side of home plate a lot.
231 batter is Dietrich. As he awaits pitch number 1 that misses for a ball, and we are underway. 68-degree game time temperature here at Great American Ballpark. It rained late in the afternoon, really cooled things off. Tarp was on for a good bit of the late afternoon. But everything moved out, and we are on time for baseball tonight. Now, you mentioned that slider for Romano. He's coming off of an outing. It was a loss Saturday. 89 pitches. And of the 89, 80 were fastballs. And he was talking about trying to work inside, and that goes right along with what Danny Darwin is preaching.
Well, I mean, obviously you have to control your fastball first. Command your fastball if you're going to survive up here at this level. And that's a key for him. And that inside pitch to left-handers is one that is a very tough pitch for right-handed pitchers to get to without hanging it over the middle of the plate.
And that's where he had problems, because it was a left-handed laden Minnesota lineup that he faced, and they fouled off a ton of balls in that game against him, and he got that pitch count up.
And that's why, you know, you wonder when you look at Sal's numbers, even in the minor leagues, for a guy that throws as hard as he does, he doesn't have strikeout numbers like you would think he would. That's why I say tonight the slider will be an important pitch, because you've got so many right-handers.
Absolutely. And that last start, he was done after 4 2/3 innings, gave up 3 runs. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Good start for Sal.
Looked like he got him on a high slider that he may have left a little bit higher than he probably wanted it. Sometimes you leave those breaking pitches up so high, though, that they look good to the hitter, but they don't come down into this wheelhouse. That was his knuckle curve variety that we've talked about that on Tech Talk. He kind of pinches the seam with his index finger.
And here's JT Realmuto, catcher for this Marlins club. Steps in with an 11-game hitting streak. Average up at 340. Suarez, throw on the run, 2 outs. Here's your Ford defensive lineup for the Reds around the outfield. Duvall, Hamilton, Shebler. Those 3 get the start tonight. Suarez, Peraza, Blandino at second base for Scooter Gennett still. We'll talk about that coming up. Joey Votto at first base, Tucker Barnhart hanging the signs for Sal Romano. So a quick 2 outs for Romano, and here's Starlin Castro, the former Cub.
Of course, if you're a big Reds fan, you have for years heard about Starlin Castro. Of course, the Reds played the Cubs so many times. He broke in at age 20, spent the first 6 years of his major league career with the Cubs, and they really were trying to build the team around him. Timing is everything, though, because shortly after he left the Cubs to go to New York, the Cubs win the World Series.
Yep.
And here he is in Miami.
Youngsters Addison Russell, Javier Baez, a couple of players that shunned him aside from the Cubs.
Solid player through and through, though.
Yeah.
He really is, and he's a good clubhouse guy. He's hitting over 300. He hit over 300 last year, or right at the 300 mark last year when he was with the New York Yankees.
3 balls and a strike. A major league debut. We talked about it before the game against the Reds. Was an incredible night for him as he looked at ball 4.
Boy, that's one of those at bats that if you're Sal Romano, it just got away from you. And I say this over and over again, and people look at me like I'm half crazy, which they're half right. But when you get 2 outs in an inning, it is so easy for a pitcher just to kind of let your guard down and say, okay, I'm 2/3 of the way through here. I'm just going to flip it up there and get this third guy out. Next thing you know, you've given up a free pass. And now you bring a slugger to the plate.
Yep, in the form of Justin Bohr. Bohr, team leading 5 home runs. He's driven in 14.
Now 5 this year so far. He had 25 last year.
Marlins team's 77 and 85 last year. Pitching was their bugaboo, even though they were only 8 games below 500. They finished 5th in the National League in runs last year. But when you've got guys in that lineup, Giancarlo Stanton, Christian Yelich, Marcelo Zuna, D. Gordon, and all of a sudden those guys are gone, as we talked about in the open, completely changes everything.
And it lays a lot of the responsibility on the guy in the batter's box right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Bohr hit 25 last year. He's one of the best first basemen that you've never heard of.
Two-one pitch. Popped it up. Should be the third
inside pitch there.
Third out of the inning. Romano pitches right around that 2-out walk. Reds coming up. It's been rare this season. Here's how Riggleman will line them up tonight. Lineup brought to you by Nissan. Jose Peraza in the leadoff spot tonight. Alex Blandino starting at second base and batting second tonight. Votto, Suarez, Duvall, 3, 4, and 5. Schebler, Barnhart, Romano in the 8th spot. And Billy Hamilton once again batting 9th tonight. Lefty Wei-In Chin making his first appearance against the Reds.
Well, he's 32 years old, a control pitcher. A Taiwanese pitcher that came over, originally signed with the Baltimore Orioles and spent 4 years with the Orioles before moving down to Miami in 2016. Had a really good year one year, 16-6 in 2014 with the Orioles.
Peraza turns on one. This should be 2. On his way to second base with a leadoff double. Peraza continues to swing a hot bat.
Boy, if there's one really bright spot going on here with the Reds offense, it's Jose Peraza and how he has just turned everything around. The expectations, I think, are the biggest example. Because it was a time when Peraza would come to the plate, you're thinking, all right, his best chance for a base hit is a bloop into right field,
yeah,
maybe a drag bunt. But now he's hit the ball with power. He's hitting it to all different fields. He's still utilizing his bunts to get on base. And as the leadoff hitter, he puts himself into scoring position.
And defenses started figuring that out. They started pulling that right fielder in shallow. It made it even harder for him to hit the ball. But when he sprays it around like that, well, he's been a different hitter. Runner in scoring position for Alex Blandino.
This is going to be a telling at bat, really, not only for Blandino, but for Jim Riggleman and how he wants to run it. I mean, he's looking for every win he can get. So is he thinking about maybe giving Blandino one swing to try to get the runner to third base, then put a bunt down? Or are you going to let him stick with it and swing all the way through the AB?
1-0 pitch. Gets away from the catcher, and thank you very much. And Real Muto is going to go out and talk to his lefty.
That ball looked like a floater. Should have been caught. You're going to sting Real Muto with a pass ball. He's a good catcher.
Yeah, he is. Two-way catcher. And Real Muto is one of those guys that come the trading deadline, we'll see. He could be a big chip, another chip in this so-called fire sale, the Marlins. Praza third. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. Blandino got off to a 1-for-17 start in his big league career. Since then has hit safely in 9 of his last 10 appearances. .364 batting average over that span. He runs the count to 3-1. Blandino, versatile guy. Made his first 9 starts, or appeared in his first 9 games at third base. And last 4 games have been at second base, and starting at second base tonight and batting in the 2-hole. And Scooter Gennett continues to nurse a shoulder back to health. Update on him is that he took some infield today, was throwing. They wanted to go through one more day and have him pass all the tests defensively. We don't have official word on that, but he says he's fine and he'll be in the starting lineup and in the field tomorrow. Tonight as a pinch hitter, you can finally use him in a double switch if he's available defensively. When he's been out, the only time they've been able to use him is to pinch hit for the pitcher and not play the field. So we believe the news is good on the Scooter Gennett front. We'll do the payoff pitch again. Good eye. And a good start for the Reds. First and third, nobody out. As Joey Votto steps to the plate, he's the focus of our IGS, bringing the energy. Left-handed batters, highest career OPS versus left-handed pitching. Minimum 1,000 plate appearances. And when you're on the list with Barry Bonds, boy, what a player Larry Walker was, Mo Vaughn, Jason Giambi, a .901 career OPS versus lefties. And that would be on base percentage plus slugging. You're allowed to talk sabermetrics this weekend.
Well, I mean, I don't know if anybody on the ball club can talk more sabermetrics than Joey Votto. He's attuned to just about every modern metric there is, and it's really helped him, I think, kind of come to peace with his approach at the plate, which is get on base at all costs. Now, if you're thinking about a double play ball, Votto doesn't hit into too many of those, and Chen doesn't serve up all that many either. He's primarily a fly ball pitcher, not overpowering. You can see the kind of a quick arm fastball, straight for the most part. Although they are playing Votto to the right side with the 3 infielders, only this shortstop Prado is over right here on the left side. Crisp little breaking ball.
Just under a 400 clip with runners in scoring position this season. Comes the 1-2.
Well, a decision pitch right here for Chen, no doubt about it. Don Mattingly giving defensive signs what they're going to do in case Blandino runs right here.
3-2. Chen wanted that. Didn't get it. Home plate umpire tonight is crew chief Jerry Davis. Pat Hoberg at first base, Mark Carlson at second base, Brian Knight at third. Here comes the payoff to Votto. Check swing and going around, says Davis.
Frustrating at bat right there for Joey Votto. Chen continued to try to pound the inside part of the plate. He gets it right here, and the question is, did Votto go or not? And I guess in the eyes of Jerry Davis, it did it so much that he didn't even need to get help from third base umpire.
First out of the inning, and now Eugenio Suarez.
Boy, is that a big out.
That is a huge out. Numbers are good for Suarez. 315 average overall, and those 17 RBIs, a team high. And keep in mind, he's played in just 15 games. Was out from April 9th to the 25th with that fractured right thumb. Since coming off the DL, hitting at a 333 clip, including 3 multi-hit games. Reds trying to avoid the dreaded LOB. That would be left on base, which has been a sore spot this season. Suarez and Winker pretty good with runners in scoring position. Beyond pretty good. Best in the league. National League, that is. Suarez wanted to know where that one is.
Chen reminds me a little bit of Gio Gonzalez without the big curveball. He's got a quick arm, not high on the velo chart. I mean, he's only throwing at 89, 90 miles an hour, but it seems to really jump on the hitters.
Long drive, left field. Bye-bye. Eugenio Suarez, a second deck job and an early Reds lead.
Well, he got a 1-2 slider and dropped the bat head right now. It's like the Marlins may have never even looked at video about Eugenio Suarez. After throwing 2 fastballs basically by him up in the zone, they do him a favor. They drop the slider down, speed up his bat. And bye-bye baseball.
The early leads have been few and far between. And
man, that's a pick-me-up in that dugout right there.
That is huge.
Especially when you have a team like the Marlins. They've been down, playing better lately, but they've been down. They're on the road. Kind of set the pace for this whole 3-game series, the way you play this game.
RBIs 18, 19, and 20 for Suarez. Right side. Anderson going back. Did he get enough? He did! Back-to-back Jack Suarez. New ball. 4-0 Reds. Boy, that ball just kept carrying and carrying.
Here's a guy that needs it as much as anybody. He stayed very behind that baseball, hit it almost right out of the catcher's glove. Wei-Yin Chen, the Marlins pitcher's got to be thinking, this is like it used to be in Baltimore, the way the ball's carrying here in Cincinnati. He's pitching now in a ballpark down in Miami that is a pitcher's ballpark. Welcome to the Midwest.
Ball now takes over the team lead in home runs with 5. Here's Schebler. Schebler's been terrific. 304 hitter. Pops it up. Second out of the inning. Here's your 4 defensive lineup for the Marlins. Dietrich, Brinson, the youngster in center field. Brian Anderson, another youngster in right. Prado, Rojas, Castro, Bohr, Real Muto around the infield. 2 out batters, Tucker Barnhart.
Well, it's great to hear a little buzz in the crowd here tonight. You know, back-to-back home runs in the first inning, 4-run lead. I mean, got it kind of feeling good.
Something to talk about. No question. Tucker with a drive to left. The ballpark will hold this one. The back-to-back home runs. Suarez. Duvall. The 4-0 lead.
The Marlins by 4. Now it's Star Wars night here at the ballpark, and with Star Wars night comes many Chewbacca impressions. I'll lead us off before the players go. Take a listen.
Reds fans, get ready for Star Wars night. Bienvenido.
Shepard's was pretty good.
I thought they were all great.
Wow. Even Peraza. Love that. Shannon's wasn't bad. I know you were looking forward to this night, Chris.
What do you guys mean not bad? It was phenomenal. I've been practicing that all year.
All right. Take two. That was phenomenal, Shannon.
Thank you. My father would be proud.
Yeah. All right. Sal Romano has been given a 4-run lead. Let's see what he can do with it. Yes, he will face Brian Anderson here, Martin Prado, Miguel Rojas. 2-2 pitch. Anderson, one of the youngsters for these Marlins. Last 3 games, turned up the wick. He ranks among qualified MLB rookies. First in hits, second in walks, tied for second in runs scored with 13. And also tied for second in RBIs with 16.
Well, what Don Mattingly and the Marlins are doing right now is that they picked a handful of young players and they're going to let them play. And they're going to find out whether they can, swim or not up here at the major league level. And Anderson is one of those. Had a touch of major league time last year in 25 games.
It's a line drive into right center field for a base hit.
The Marlins in their rebuilding, and I can't really say it parallels the Reds, but they're basically 2 or 3 years away, and they're not afraid of saying that.
Right. Well, no team has undergone more changes over the last 6 to 8 months. Started with the sale of the franchise from Jeffrey Loria to the Bruce Sherman / Derek Jeter group. That's right, Derek Jeter. And they basically gutted their roster of high-priced players, namely Giancarlo Stanton got out underneath of that contract. Christian Yelich is now in Milwaukee. Ozuna in the National League Central now. D. Gordon in Seattle. Only few contracts remain. One of them is the guy in the box right here.
Martin Prado spent really all last year. He had right knee surgery last year. He spent just about every day since that time rehabbing that, and just recently came off the disabled list.
Saw the numbers against the Reds. Let's hope to squelch that.
Been a fine player. I mean, he's been around a long time, 13 years in the major leagues. Broke in with the Atlanta Braves when he was 22. Hit 300 about 3 or 4 different times in his career.
So Romano given a 4-0 lead, gives up a single and now a walk here to begin the top of the second.
Well, the single's nothing you can do about right there, but the walk has got to be a certain amount of concentration. And with a 4-run lead, he's going to get a visit here from Danny Darwin, and Darwin has had this visit, I'm sure, many times in the course of his major league career. That, hey, you look at that scoreboard out there, and you can't be worried about contact. You come right after him, you keep your good stuff down around the knees and throw it over the plate, and let's see what happens.
This is a good trip to the mound right here. Young pitcher, you don't want him to lose focus. You don't want to deliver that message, man. It's 4-0.
Even Jerry Davis came out to talk to Danny Darwin. They probably hadn't seen each other in several years. Davis has been around long time. Darwin's been around long time. Heck, Davis may have broken up a couple of fights that Darwin was involved in. I mean, after all, he is known as Dr. Death.
What a great nickname, by the way. Should we just say, here comes Dr. Death?
Unless he's staring you down, that is.
That's
not a
true.
good
Well,
one.
tonight we could call him Darth Vader. Here comes Darth Vader with a trip to the mound. Miguel Rojas, the former Reds farmhand, now the starting shortstop for the Marlins. So some work to be done here. 2 on, nobody out.
.239 hitter, but he has popped 4 home runs.
Rojas came over to the Marlins in that D. Gordon deal. That was the one from the Dodgers. Came over with D. Gordon and Dan Herron from the Dodgers in December of 2014. Romanos slowed the pace down with 2 on and nobody out. 2-1 pitch.
I think he's just overthrowing right now. And sometimes you get to the point where you just want to tell yourself, I just got to throw a strike. But he's still kind of a little bit herky-jerky with his delivery. And sometimes, you know, when you get a lead, it doesn't automatically relax you as a pitcher. Sometimes it has a tendency to do the opposite. 3-1 pitch, take a little bit off. Choose your favorite pitch, throw it down in the zone, and see what happens.
Gets the strike call in the upper part of the strike zone. So that high strike, Jerry Davis, it's been going both ways so far.
Well, whether it's a break or not, it doesn't concern Romano. All that he's concerned about now is he's able to keep the count alive. And he's got a chance right here to make a pitch and help himself get out of the inning.
Three-two. Marlins I'm sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I was going to say Rojas has been dipping that bat in a pine tar bat, hasn't he?
There's a little conversation that's going on, and Jerry Davis is going to step out and act like he's cleaning the plate, but that was to deliver a message right there to Rojas, who's been chirping ever since that strike, or that high strike call. Ground ball, could be 2. Peraza, Blandino, that's a double play.
Well, just what the doctor ordered right there. DP lane all the way.
One more out to go, and here's Lewis Brinson. We talked about these young players with the Marlins, and you talked about the Marlins giving these guys a chance, and will be patient with these young guys, and patience is what they've needed so far with Brinson, off to a very, very slow start at the plate.
Brinson's still a very young man, and he's been a top prospect really wherever he has been. The problem that's plaguing him this year is that he's swinging at so many pitches that are outside the zone. He's not giving himself a chance to drive the ball.
He was one of the players that came over in the Christian Yelich deal to the Marlins.
And before that, he was with the Rangers, who got him when he was a top-notch prospect. They traded him to the Brewers. The Brewers had traded him down to Miami. Now, the Brewers really liked Brinson. I mean, they didn't want to give him up, but the prospect of getting Christian Yelich and kind of going for it, quote unquote, this year, that temptation was so big that they decided to cut him loose. Last 5 games, he's been a whole lot better than the way he started out.
And Brinson, hitting ahead of the pitcher, decided to cut it loose on 2-0. We'll see what he does at 2-1 here with the pitcher on deck. Two and two.
That's a Pac-Man ball right there. Coming to eat up your fingers.
Was that an original?
Yeah, it just came out right now, actually.
Let me write this down. Pac-Man ball.
847, 5518.
We will add that to your Wikipedia page. First coined the phrase the Pac-Man ball.
You know, if you're Sal Romano right now, I mean, you want to get Brinson out. You love to have Chen lead off, but you really want to get out of this inning with a 0. You don't want to leave one out of center of the plate here to a guy who's seeing the ball a little bit better. Make a good pitch. Center of the plate, and he popped it up anyway.
Romano dances around big time trouble in the second. Let's hold on to a 4-0 lead. Every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Subscription includes MLB At Bat, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. All right, pitcher v. pitcher here, bottom of the second. Sal Romano. Once again, the pitcher spot 8th tonight. Hamilton on deck batting 9th. Sal seeking his first hit of the season. 1 for 33 as a batter in his young career. Last year when we were in New York and I had the chance to sit in the stands with his parents, his dad Talked about working with him in the offseason. He was more upset with his lack of hitting than his pitching prowess. He's like, we're going to work on his hitting in the offseason. A righty pitcher and lefty batter, Sal, and he goes down swinging for out number 1. This Reds offense puts a 4 spot on the board in the first, and of late it has been a good offense for Jim Riggleman. You look at our Lowe's whole team together since April 23rd. Second in all of Major League Baseball in runs per game. The batting average is up. Walks are first. On base percentage first. And third in OPS. Small sample size, yes, but you got to start somewhere. Now if they could add more clutch hits to the mix. Billy Hamilton turns on one, but foul. Add more clutch hits to the mix. Leave less runners on base. And we're really talking. But if you're just joining us in the first, it was a 3-run home run off the bat of Eugenio Suarez. Followed up by Adam Duvall with a solo shot. 0-2 pitch to Hamilton. Check to swing, appeal down, no, says Pat Hoberg. This is Billy Hamilton's 16th start, batting 9th. And the theory being, if you bat him 8th, you don't need the pitcher to bunt him over. He can steal second base. Unfortunately, the question of if he gets on base has been one that has been lingering. Realmuto towards the screen and falls just over the screen.
Well, it's really, for Billy Hamilton, it's really either been number 1 in the order, leadoff, or number 9 in the order. 11 games as the leadoff hitter, 17, now 18 games, including tonight as the number 9 hitter.
And he's hanging tough. Count stays at 2-2. Phillies had far less at bats from the right hand side, just 26 coming in, and a 154 batter right-handed, 206 left-handed.
The one thing that Hamilton has improved a little bit on, and I know you're stretching looking for some silver lining here, but the number of plate appearances he has before he gets a walk is way down this year, so he's walking more.
And he walks here.
And for Billy, a walk is as good as a hit.
Yep.
Well, for a pitcher that prides himself in good control, Chen has not been around the strike zone the way he wants, and you may say that he must be a little bit rusty because he was sidelined with elbow soreness last year, sidelined again this year, and just now making only his 2nd start.
Peraza doubled his first time up, 7th double of the season in the first inning. He had 9 total doubles in all of 2017. Going back initially and now coming in and paying the price is Brinson. Billy slides into second, and the Reds have 2 base runners.
Brinson not only was late getting a jump, but he went back first. When he finally did read it, he went back 2 steps and then could not recover in time. So when you're going good and Peraza's going good, he says that one fall in. So the 2 of the Reds' speediest runners are on the base paths. And against a left-handed pitcher, I'm wondering if maybe we're going to see the engineering of a double steal coming up.
Well, it would also help that a right-handed batter Blandino in the box that Real Muto will have to throw around. If indeed he throws at third base. Blandino walked his first time up, scored when Suarez blasted a 3-run shot. So Chin still having trouble with the command of the strike zone. Counts 2 balls and no strikes. Bohr is not holding Peraza on. A gap job would likely score 2. Two-one pitch. And they turn the double play. That was a tough one to turn. That was a slow roller.
Now the Marlins are slow coming off the field right there because they're not sure whether the Reds are going to ask for a replay or not. As it turns out, they will not, and that double play ends the inning.
5-4-3 on the double play. Off to the 3rd inning we go. 4-0 Reds. To relive great moments and get insights from the players. Follow Fox Sports OH on Instagram. Top of the 3rd. Wei-Yin Chin, pitcher at the plate. He throws him lefty, he bats righty. 1 for 60 in his career as a hitter. And he had a streak. Well, it was a long one. He got an infield single that only hit April 17th of last year, snapping an 0 for 51 slide.
What is your batting average when you're 1 for 52?
I was told math was not part of this gig. Joel? I look over at stat man. That would be a 019. Yeah. Simply put, not good.
Kind of like your math grade.
Thank you. It was the fourth longest. Here we go again. It was the fourth longest streak to start a career among players who debuted in 1900 or later, right before your debut in 1899. John Lester holds the MLB mark of 66 straight at-bats without a hit. Oh, Sally, that's the second time we've seen him do that. Not recommended, but instinctual with the bare hand.
Well, Chen is happy that he made contact, and Romano is happy that he didn't injure himself. Got that big bear paw out there and grabbed it clean.
And I was just going to say, normally the trainer is just going to come out just in case. And I'm sure this does not make Sal happy. In fact, a little bit of a turn from the mound like, I'm all right. But
well, I mean, Steve Bauman has an appearance clause in his contract, too. There he is.
That one had an exit velocity of 93 miles per hour.
You mean the ball that went back to
Romano
on the ground ball?
Correct.
Okay.
So, not recommended if one's coming that hard. That's a pretty hard hit ball for a pitcher, actually,
Sure is.
on the ground.
Here it is again.
Romano likes this. One pitch and out number 2. You know, I should have said exit velo because you dropped a velo earlier, and that's what all the cool kids are saying now. So I should have said exit velo. My bad.
I thought maybe exit velo was the name of your newest, most favorite craft beer.
It wouldn't be bad.
Not a bad idea, huh?
No.
Not an IPA or a lager.
You're an idea man.
And they're all free.
Well, that's been the problem. You've been waiting for that lucrative idea your whole life.
You know, you said that earlier that Realmuto, he's a batter at the plate right now, might be a guy that would be on the trade block. A lot of people were wondering if he would be traded or not, including JT Realmuto.
Yeah.
In fact, he was kind of hoping that he would.
He was very vocal.
But he's just turned 27 years old. The Marlins have at least another 3 years of control over Realmuto. He went to arbitration for the first time this year and lost. He's a good catcher.
Long throw for Peraza. Pretty play. We'll talk more about Realmuto going forward. Good inning for Romano.
Rock band dress-up night sounds fun, and speed dating night I need more information on. Some of the best and most infamous theme nights in my book would have to be 10-cent beer night, June 4th in 1974 at Cleveland Stadium. Did not end well. And of course, disco demolition night at Comiskey Park, the White Sox organization. How about those? I'd like to take part in 10-cent beer night. How about you guys?
Well, if I'm not working, indeed. Although some would say that I've had a few up here. That night was unbelievable.
1974, though, it'd have to be $1 now, right, though, guys?
That ended up being a forfeit in the ball game, isn't that
Yeah,
correct?
both of those were forfeits by the home team. Bill Veck.
Yeah.
Speaking of idea men. Disco demolition night. That was right in your wheelhouse.
I'll tell you what.
The late 70s. I'd like to
been able
flash
to
back.
get there, I would have been there.
Like to flash back to Chris Welsh in a silk shirt, gold chains.
Well, I had the disco outfit in case I needed it, that's for sure.
Those, what are those shoes? I guess they won't call them high heels, but the platform shoes. Those were big. Two-two pitch to Joey Votto. We'll do the 2-2 again. Right center field, hit well. That will be to the wall. And into second base will be Votto with a leadoff double. Just his third double of the season.
Had he short stroked that one, it looked like that Chen was trying to get inside again, and Votto really choking up that time. Able to get the barrel on it, and Brinson gives up on it as it short hops to center field wall.
Not only nice to see him with an extra base hit, but hold that ball. Normally he's serving it up into left center field. All right, here's Suarez. His first time up a 3-run home run.
And he got it on a breaking ball now. It looked like the Chen was throwing the fastball by him. We'll see in this at bat if he gets another breaking ball to look at. If he gets one, I would imagine it's going to be out of the zone.
We mentioned Suarez has 20 RBIs now, team leading in just his 16th game. Those are 20 RBIs and 66 plate appearances. He's the fastest Red to 20 RBIs in that span since Brandon Phillips did it in 60 plate appearances way back in 2006. And that was Phillips's first 60 plate appearances as a Red. He hit the ground running when he came over to the Reds from the Indians, did Phillips. Oh, 1. Two and 1. Chin being extra careful with Suarez. 3-1 pitch. So Wei-In Chin of Taiwanese descent. Very soft-spoken guy here in America, but they say in Taiwan he is like a rock star. Baseball, the #1 sport in Taiwan. As he walks Suarez, first and second, and nobody out.
Chen tonight looks very rusty because he's normally a guy that does not walk all that many. Here he has walked 3 in the ball game already. He's had trouble each and every inning. At least 2 batters on in the first, second, and now the third innings.
And he'll face Adam Duvall. First time up for Adam. Part of back-to-back home runs with Suarez. Oh, 1 pitch. Dietrich will give way to Brinson. 1 out. So a big out for Chen. Chen making his 150th career appearance in the bigs tonight.
Well, it's a big out if he can turn it into a ground ball double play. The next hitter, that is, to get out of the inning. He was able to do that last inning after a strikeout, a walk, and a base hit. He got a 5-4-3 double play to end the second inning. So Schebler, though, is not much of a ground ball hitter. Likes the ball up and usually gets the ball in the air.
Schebler popped out his first time up. Can't imagine pitching with a partially torn ligament in your elbow.
Well, he doesn't know it. I'm sure that hundreds, if not more, have done that in the past, Jim, before they used to have MRIs.
Right.
I mean, you had a sore elbow and you iced it down and you pitch and your elbow was sore, and maybe some days your velocity went down. You didn't really know. And, you know, they're wondering now. There are a couple of different things that happen when you have a torn ulnar collateral ligament in your elbow. One is you lose your velocity. The other is that you lose your command. I mean, it wasn't like all of a sudden, you know, with the onset of MRIs and Tommy John surgery, did they discover that there was actually torn ligaments.
Right.
They had, I mean, it's probably happened for 100 years. But either you pitch through it or you retired.
Two-one pitch to Schebler. He will get back-to-back balls in the air left side and back-to-back big outs. Well, Chen at 32 years of age, get Tommy John surgery. That's usually a year injury at least. There's been a few cases guys came back less.
Yeah, but usually what happens though is the guy comes back healthier and he comes back throwing harder because he's been able to rehab his arm for an entire year. You get a year off from pitching, so if there's any wear and tear on your arm, sometimes you come back and feel rejuvenated. I mean, he would have no problem at all be able to come back and probably give a couple more years of good service because he's got a good idea about pitching.
Is it a ticking time bomb, though, with a partially torn?
Some
of us say that's the sports science is really trying to dig into the numbers and trying to figure out why all these pitchers are having injuries. etc. And it's going to take a lot of years of getting those numbers to even begin to figure it out. And who knows if they'll ever figure it out.
All I know is that I believe what Jack McKeon said. That if you've got more MRIs than RBIs, you got a problem.
I could just picture Trader Jack saying that too, because he liked to work the room. He would say something and look around the room for positive affirmation over his funny lines.
Of course, Jack managed this ball club a couple of times and was on staff with the Marlins for a long, long time.
Yep, Jack won the 2003 World Series with the Marlins. Count is 3-1 to Tucker Barnhart. 2 outs, 2 on. And he walked it. A nice job of Barnhart, who's hit a lot in front of the pitcher in his career. Hitting 7th with the pitcher batting 8th tonight. And works a walk and at least gets the pitcher up in this inning. Second walk of the inning for Chen and his 4th overall. Swing the bat and you're dangerous, one left-hander said. Mano was hacking. And that left-hander, of course, being the late, great Joe Nuxhall. Ground ball, put it in play, see what happens. Red Strand 3. Hold on to a 4-0 lead here on Fox Sports Ohio. Monday, it's your chance to make your signs to support your favorite team and players and be part of the Reds live telecast from the Fox Sports Ohio condominium. Starlin Castro will lead off this half inning for the Marlins, and boy, what a debut he had his major league career right here.
Well, it happened nearly on this day back in 2010. It was May the 7th against Homer Bailey on the mound, and boy, did he ever have a day. Major League debut, opposite field. I think it was a 3-run home run that Castro had then. And he wasn't done. The Cubs ended up beating the Reds that day 14-7. And Marlon Castro, boy, what a game he had, batting down in the order low. He ended up being 2 for 5, had 6 runs batted in, 7 total bases. And you talk to him about that day, and he always brings a smile to his face.
No question. Schebler will race over. Does he have room? Yes, nice play.
Now that's an acquired skill, playing that corner down there in right field line. Neither corner, left or right, has very much room over there. And you know when you get to the foul line, you are running out of real estate.
And there's padding there, but it's not much. It's like hitting the concrete wall.
Jay Bruce became a very good right fielder here. I think it's just a matter of time before Schebler becomes equally as adept at playing that field.
So Romano has settled in nicely here. He had a 1-2-3 third. He stranded 1 in the second, 1 in the first. Oh, 2 pitch. Bohr will turn 30 later this month. Born in Washington, D.C. Big guy, 6'4", 269. And the Reds will shift around to his pull side with Alex Blandino well on the grass. Just got under this one. 2 outs. As part of the Ohio Lottery postgame concert series, Cincinnati's own Walk the Moon will be performing live on the field after the game on Saturday, July 28th. Everyone with a ticket to the Reds game will have a chance to enjoy that postgame concert by Walk the Moon. For tickets, visit reds.com/concerts. Now the rook, Brian Anderson. Singled his first time up. Brian Anderson, born in Edmond, Oklahoma. 24 years of age. 6'2", 198.
If I'm Sal Romano, I'm keeping that slider on Anderson right now. He did not have a good swing at that at all. Romano put it right down in the corner. Now you expand the zone a little bit with it. Good idea.
One, two. Here comes. Look out. A couple of pitches outside, busts him inside, and we'll see what he does on the 2-2. Anderson stays alive. Count holds at 2-2. Strike 3 call. Back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings for Sal Romano.
Serve or when you served, we stand ready to serve all military families.
If a Reds home run hits the Toyota sign between tall stacks during tonight's game, Christy Tate from Batavia, Ohio, will win the beautiful new Tundra on display at Great American Ballpark thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Hamilton, Peraza, Blandino here in the home half of the fourth. 4-0 Reds. Chris Welsh, I'm Jim Day. Thanks for joining us on this Friday night. First of 3 with the fish. Billy Hamilton walked his first time up.
Hey, we thank John Arardi for stopping by yesterday, dropping off a couple of his books that he just wrote. One I'm interested in getting into very quickly is Tony Perez.
Going out to get it is Castro.
From Cuba to Cooperstown. He went down and spent a lot of time down in Cuba interviewing a number of different people. He'll be signing that book tomorrow at the Reds Hall of Fame.
I'm looking forward to reading that book as well, because Tony Perez is one of not only mine but many in Reds country's favorites and favorite players of all time.
That'll be between 5 and 7 tomorrow, right before game time, right there at the Hall of Fame. He'll have books for you to purchase. He'll inscribe them for you, personalize them, and stay tuned to Reds Live, because we'll have a feature on that book. And John Arardi, who's written a number of different books, great writer, local guy, and what a wonderful appreciation for Reds history and baseball he has, and I'm sure that book is a good one.
Well, a lot of times we'll see Tony come into town with the Marlins.
Yeah.
But not anymore, because he was ousted, which was not a popular move in South Florida, from the organization when the new ownership group of Bruce Sherman and Derek Jeter took over. And he was not the only one. On this day in Reds history, brought to you by Geico. We always talk about the Reds being the first professional baseball team. Well, it all started on this date. The Cincinnati Red Stockings played their first official game as the sport's first professional side against the Great Western Baseball Club And they had a few hits that day. They won 45-9. Check them out. Known back then as the first professional all-9. First all-professional 9, I should say. The Red Stockings. They had a pretty good year in 1869. Dominant, say the least. Popped up. 1-2-3 inning. For AT CIN. We've played 4-0 Reds. Sports Ohio is brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. Check out the sky of the Great American Ballpark. Great night for baseball. 68-degree game time temperature. Pretty sky. At nightfall here in the Queen City. And a decent crowd on hand. Star Wars night here on May the 4th. And yes, you've heard it 1,000 times. We'll make it 1,001. May the 4th be with you. Martin Prado, Miguel Rojas, Lewis Brinson in the 5th against Sal Romano. Was hung 4 zeros here to begin this one. And Romano continues to mow him down.
Well, he is suddenly becoming much more efficient with his pitches. He struggled the early part of the ball game, first couple of innings, kind of nibbling around a little bit. And we've seen this with Sal before, where it kind of takes him a number of pitches, maybe a couple dozen or so, before he begins to get his feet on the ground. But once he's on a roll, he is on one, and now looking for his 3rd consecutive 1-2-3 inning.
He's retired 9 straight. Miguel Rojas up for the 2nd time tonight, and back in the 2nd was one of the bigger at bats for Romano of the game. There was 2 on and nobody out. They got Rojas to ground into a 6-4-3 double play. Got Brinson on a fly out to follow.
You know, the potential of Romano is what really has the Reds interested in him long term. Right now, he ranks 21st in all of baseball in overall fastball velocity. Had 94 miles an hour. That puts him ahead of Yu Darvish, Trevor Bauer, Max Scherzer, Carlos Martinez. So there's a lot to like about, the strength of his body and the strength of his arm. Of course, with that comes the maturity of learning how to pitch a little bit. And I think the next step for Romano, other than, commanding his fastball and being able to throw his breaking ball behind the count, he's changing speeds on that fastball just a little bit.
The Reds would certainly like to see him get those pitch counts down, particularly early on in games.
Well, the way you do that is by pitching to contact early on, not trying to get a strikeout every time. He's not getting a lot of strikeouts, so there's really not a good reason out there why he shouldn't pitch a real effective and efficient game.
He's gone 6 innings twice this season. That is the deepest he's gone into ball games, and now his 7th start tonight. Suarez. Nice play. 10 in a row by Romano.
And sometimes it just comes with experience where a guy will just hold the fastball a little bit differently. Maybe you slide your thumb up on the side of the baseball, takes a little bit of speed off of it, gives you some added movement. So now you say you throw that at 90 or 91 miles an hour, and you still have the 95 cheese when you need it.
Suarez kind of has that side swiper down. You would normally teach a guy to get in front of that ball, but he is one that likes to pick it. And you can't argue with his success down there.
Well, until you don't pick it clean, and then instead of hitting it off the chest, it goes into left field.
Right.
I mean, I think he's a marvelous defender.
Terrific.
And he's come a long, long way. And I think he gives you Gold Glove caliber. Although there's a guy named Nolan Arenado out in Colorado that is going to own the Gold Gloves for quite a while. But I've never been a big fan of guys that sidestep the ball just because of a bad hop and bad luck.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. If you're just joining us, all the runs by the Reds scored in the first. Double Peraza, Blandino with a walk, 3-run home run from the aforementioned Suarez. And Duvall followed him back-to-back home runs to make it 4-0. And Sal Romano has kept it right there. Hamilton. Ball keeps carrying, and it's out of here. Boy, the ball's carrying tonight. Lewis Brinson, his 4th home run of the season, and the Marlins are on the board.
I think it depends who hits it there, and that's one of the things that has you really excited if you're a Marlins fan about Lewis Brinson. He's been a top prospect for a long time based on just some natural skills. He's got power, he's got speed, he's got a good arm. He grades out across the board at the very top level in all the different scouting departments. And he hits a high ball that just goes and goes and goes tonight. Yeah, that's one thing the Reds haven't done in this ball game. They haven't done any add-on here since the first inning. And you think with the way that Romano is pitching that this is almost like a blowout field of this ball game.
Yeah.
It's only a 3-run lead now.
And now he'll face a pincher in Yadiel Rivera. So the night is done for Wei-Yin Chen. Randy Gonzalez, righty. Looks like he'll be next up for Don Mattingly. Two-two pitch. Votto take it himself. Marlins get on the board. 4-1 Reds. Suarez bobblehead presented by John Morrell. You can see the game for as low as $12. For tickets, log on to Reds.com. Chris Welsh, I'm Jim Day, and there it is.
There it is. The head bobbles looking good. He's staying down on a nice ground ball. No sidestepping right there on this bobblehead.
And
that's a nice one.
Los Rojos on the front.
I like it. I like it.
It is a good one. You know what? I'm glad they put a smile on his face. Because the dude always has a smile. And if he doesn't have a smile on his face, he's bringing a smile to your face.
Oh, you better believe it. I mean, anybody who's willing to color his hair like Guy Fieri deserves his own bobblehead, even though we have dark hair on this one. Yeah. You do it, Gino.
He's sporting the blonde do now, but in spring training, he showed up with it silver. And on opening day, it was silver. And it was awesome. And he said, it was my wife's idea. Just to do something a little different. Bring some smile to people's faces. Which he does a lot. And new pitcher on. Facing Joey Votto, Merandy Gonzalez. 2-0, 4.50 ERA. Both of these teams have struggled with the bullpen ERA. And the Marlins' worst bullpen ERA in the National League is Votto. Puts a charge into one, but right at the right fielder, Anderson. 5.10 team bullpen ERA for the Marlins. The Reds not much better than that. It's been a tough go. The Pens to start the season for both of these clubs. And here's the bobblehead guy, Suarez. So we will have Suarez bobblehead day on Cinco de Mayo. I like that. Lots of celebrating going on including down in Mexico. They have that Mexican series going on this weekend in Mexico. The Padres and the Dodgers. 3-game set south of the border. Had him fooled. Suarez way out in front. Counts 1-2. So close the book on Wei Chen. 4 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs. They were earned. He walked 4 batters as he struggled with his command all night long. Struck out 2 and gave up those 2 first-inning home runs and all 4 runs in the first. Shattered bat. Splintered, I should say. As he hit that right off the end of the bat. Wow.
Well, we have seen him shatter a lot of bats. I'm not sure what bat company or what kind of lumber he is grabbing up there, but we sure don't see Joey Votto's bats come apart like that.
Well, you and I were, in fact, you pointed it out to me. Votto's batting practice bat has this permanent marker that is just center cut. It is right on the sweet spot.
It's like where all the lacquer has been worn away because he hits a ball on the exact same spot every time.
When I looked at that, I'm like, wow. I mean, even in batting practice, that's hard to do.
I mean, really what it reminded me of is a pro golfer's worn spot on his favorite iron that he hits off the tee box and practices hundreds and thousands of times. You wear a little hole in the middle of the club if you're really good. Votto does that with his batting practice bat.
Now, I looked at his bat because I refuse to touch the player's bat as Suarez draws a 1-out walk. Baseball players are so superstitious. You're like, hey, man, don't touch my bat.
I mean, Joey probably let you touch
No, that didn't happen. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he would or not. I'm not touching.
Well,
it was laying.
You guys are tight.
Oh, quit now. Come on. He was laying in the grass, and I looked at it, and I thought of what you said.
I'd have no chance.
You're sounding like Tom more and more every day, by the way. One pitch to Duvall. There goes Suarez. He'll have to go back to first base. Oh, 0-2 pitch. Suarez holds it this time, and holding the swing is Duvall, and the count's 1-2.
And that's the main pitch of the young right-hander that the Reds are facing right now, Mirandi Gonzalez. He's only 22 years old. Originally signed when he was 16 years old by the Mets. Traded over to the Marlins in the A.J. Ramos trade, and that overhand curveball is his favorite off-speed pitch. I mean, he will throw it often. Combine that with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got a pretty nice middle reliever on your hands.
Count holds at 1-2. walks it, but right at the third baseman. Throw to first, not in time. Well, good sign for Duvall. At least hitting the ball hard. A home run and a hard hit ball here in the fifth.
Yeah, he couldn't have hit that much harder than he did. That was a sinking line drive, gloved by Prado. Prado thought he'd fire over to first base to maybe catch Suarez napping. Didn't happen.
Two-out batter, Scott Schebler. And the Marlins will once again shift around to his pull side. Couple of pop outs, both of them to the shortstop. There you see the shift. Boy, he has almost the entire left side if he wants it. And Gonzalez pitching him outside. Two one. 3-1.
We showed you the shift, and it's about as dramatic a shift as you will find anywhere. And on a 3-1 count, Scott Schebler has, if he wanted to, all this area right here to lay the ball down and put it upon the shoulders of Tucker Barnhart in the on-deck circle to drive a run in from second base. 3-run game. I mean, not like it's an 8-run game.
Within slam range, as Dusty Baker used to say. He, of course, wasn't the first one to say that. Count is full to Schebler. There goes the runner on the 3-2 pitch, and he walked him. Second walk of the inning given up by Gonzalez. Now the runner in scoring position. It's Tucker Barnhart. Tucker walked his last time up, flied out to left back in the first. Tucker would be the first to tell you he would like to turn it up offensively. As righty David Hernandez throws in the Reds bullpen. Two on, 2 outs. Reds trying to add to a 4-1 lead. One pitch in the air. Left center field. Hit well. But near the track and gloving it is Brinson, and the Reds will strand 2. 5 innings in the books. 3-run Reds lead.
In his hometown of Lebanon, Ohio yesterday. But how about this? Scooter-born Ryan Jeanette received the nickname after a brief run-in with the law when he was a kid up in Lebanon and wouldn't keep his seatbelt on. That police officer, Rob White, surprised him at the signing yesterday, tossing down a police badge when it was his turn in line. To say Scoot was shocked would be an understatement. Scooter was honored to be honored at the day.
It's another one of those things where it's like, is this really happening? You know, but it's nice to see that, you know, people do, you know, keep track, like, and follow your career along, and you know, if you do, I guess, good enough, or, you know, you have people that look up to you and like the way you go about your business, you know, they name a day after you.
Shannon, you were up there for Scooter Jeanette Day, were you not?
I sure was.
First trip to Lebanon?
First trip to Lebanon, and it was amazing.
It's a very cool little town.
It is. I got the burger at the Golden Lamb after the event, and it was delicious.
Well, you're one step ahead of Jim Day in that department. Congratulations, Shannon. Great report. Good job.
We got the invite, though, when you dropped the Golden Lamb last game. We got the personal invite. So I'll be waiting for you to pick me up. We'll go together. And I'm going to give you a big burger.
What is it? They're famous. Is it the sauerkraut balls that they're most famous for?
There are great things about it.
You have the burger, and I'll have a plate of those.
And a side of kale. That was a hit by pitch. And that'll bring up JT Realmuto.
The top of the order right here, and it's a little tighter ball game now for Sal Romano. Third time through the order. It's been somewhat of a touchy spot for a lot of these young Red starters. See if he can't make a couple pitches right here and work through the toughest, 3 or 4 hitters that the Marlins have.
You got to be a tough guy to be a catcher. Said it 1,000 times. And I've always said in spring training, these guys should be paid double. You wouldn't believe how hard these guys have to work in spring training. Ground ball. Suarez off his glove into left field. On his way to third base. and will be in safely as Dietrich. So runners on the corners and nobody out.
Romano got the ground ball, but unfortunately for him, it was just a couple of feet too far to the left of the third baseman Suarez. Suarez lays out for it right here. Nearly he's able to grab it and get it under control. If he's able to do that, he gets at least one out. Deflects it into the left field. Runners go first and third right here. And now you have Castro and Justin Bour. So activity now in the Reds bullpen.
David Hernandez was throwing earlier. He's still throwing. Wandy Peralta, lefty, has joined him.
Reds are short a left-hander in their bullpen. Amir Garrett has been placed on the bereavement list to be gone a few days, and so they will be left with only Wandy Peralta from the left-hand side.
Tanner Rainey was called back up from Louisville, AAA, to take Garrett's spot while he's on the bereavement list, which is at least 3 days, up to 7 days.
Oh, Castro had a pitch there. I mean, he's always been a good fastball hitter. Looks like he's down, gets his foot down on time, but a hair late on the fastball and fouls it straight back. Now 0-2 count. Romano really in control here. Expand the zone, see if you can't get him to tap onto a fielder and pick up a couple of outs here if necessary.
Serves it into right field. Schebler coming on. His throw will be to home, and he holds up the runner at third base. So Freddie Gonzalez, the third base coach for the Marlins. We're assuming held Dietrich up. Maybe Dietrich did it on his own, not sure.
Well, one of the things right here, Dietrich runs okay, but Schebler is kind of moving in towards home plate, so he's got a momentum coming in. He's not running side to side. So a third base coach with nobody out is not going to take that chance. You don't have to throw it over the mound when you're throwing it from the right field area. Runner right there is going to tag and then take a good look. And the other thing is, you really can't tell from his perspective whether that throw was offline or not.
Jim Riggleman is on his way to the mound, and this looks like the slow walk to lift his starter. And he makes the call. That'll be it for Romano. It's our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. This Sunday, thanks to Klosterman Bakery, you can get half-price Reds tickets, enjoy live mascot races, face painters, and more. Plus, kids 14 and younger are going to get the Joey Votto Fathead, thanks to Ace Hardware. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Jim Riggleman came and got his young right-hander Sal Romano with 2 on and 1 out, and Wandy Peralta will face the lefty Justin Bour.
Well, this is probably what scared Jim Riggleman quite a bit, to see this big left-hander step up there with a couple of runners on base here in a 3-run ball game. Bour has 5 home runs this year, none of them off of left-handed pitching.
"12 strikeouts, but the 12 walks for Peralta has been a problem spot. And the count's 2-0 here.
And the other thing, you go back to last year on Justin Bour, he had 25 home runs, and 19 of those came off of right-handers. So that's why Peralta's in there. 2-0 count, though, is a good hitting count whether you're facing a southpaw or anybody. He'll be wheeling that lumber.
Three and you'd turn the big guy loose here, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he doesn't really like to do that very much. Last year, he only had 1 at bat on a 3-0 count where he put the ball into play.
A 4-pitch walk. And that'll drive a manager crazy, so much so he's going to come right out and get him.
Well, you can't afford to keep a guy in a ball game with the bases loaded if you know he can't throw the ball over the plate. And there's a lot of different ways you can get your message across to the players as the manager. One of them is to get somebody else in there to do the job if you can't throw it over.
Turn the ball over to David Hernandez. Quite the situation here in the 6th. I hope David Hernandez will pick him up. Bases loaded, 1 out.
Well, they're about as interested at parties as you're going to find in this ballpark, because each of those guys have runners on base that belong to them and their record in this game. So David Hernandez comes in, no place to put a runner, bases loaded, 3-run game. A ground ball, double play gets you out of the inning.
First pitch strike. Since coming off the disabled list, the Reds have tried their best to ease Hernandez back in. That easing is over. It's the 6th inning, but it's a high leverage situation here.
Hernandez has got really just a 3-pitch mix. A fastball that he runs up anywhere 91 to 93 miles an hour. He really likes his curveball. That was the pitch that just missed down and away. The first pitch he threw in this inning was a get-ahead cutter. He is a strike thrower.
One-two pitch. Left field. Here comes Duvall. 2 outs. Once again, Adam Duvall gets a quality jump on a line drive.
Pretty good bit of outfield play right here by Duvall. He's a good athlete, an above average defender for a left fielder. Former shortstop in high school, third baseman in college. A dandy defender.
Still work to be done. Martin Prado. 1 for 2 tonight. A walk and a fly out. Bit of pacing when you turn the ball over and you can only look on. 2 balls and no strikes. Prado has faced Hernandez 4 times in his career. 0 for 4. Left field. And the Reds get out of it. David Hernandez shuts the door here in the 6th. The Reds hold on to a 3-run lead.
Star Wars characters. Our players did their best impressions of Chewbacca. Take a listen.
Reds fans, get ready for Star Wars night.
May the force be with you. May the force be with you.
I'm glad that.
Wow. Second round, not as good as the first. Those were funny, though. You're put on the spot. I've been to spring training down there when they do those spots. And when you're in a room and it's quiet and you're staring at that camera, it's a whole lot different.
Kind of like facing the terrible test by Jim Day.
Wow. Haven't done a terrible test in a while. Going back in the day. Here's Scooter Gennett. Hitting here in the pitcher spot. Coming off of, as Shannon Ford talked about, Scooter Gennett Day in Lebanon. And I thought it was a very cool story that Shannon told about the police officer when he was a youngster. We told the story before about him getting his nickname. He wouldn't wear a seat belt. His mom tried to scare him into wearing it, so they took him to the police station. And that officer that scared him showed up yesterday at Scooter Gennett Day, which is cool.
No kidding, that's a great story.
Yeah, and the story goes, if you don't know how he loved the Muppets, one of the characters, Scooter. So he just told that police officer that day, my name is Scooter. Wouldn't tell him his real name. And it stuck. Looking at strike 3, though, is Ryan Scooter Gennett.
A little fastball, I think, that he thought was either going to move outside or was off the corner. He takes another look at the corner before going back to the dugout.
And that'll bring up Billy Hamilton. Walked in the second, was stranded, popped out last time up. Billy will hit from the left-hand side for the first time tonight. Per usual, third baseman playing well in on the grass, as well as the first baseman on the cut of the grass. Bohr. 2-0 pitch. 3-0. Billy taken all the way. And Billy Hamilton walks for the second time tonight. Big story tonight. Bryce Harper, leadoff home run, bottom of 1. He wasn't done. And the second he hit one, league leading 12 home runs. And the Nationals are pounding the Phillies in the nation's capital. This Marlins club just faced the Phillies and nearly swept them. What has been a very competitive National League East, along with the Central as well. Atlanta came in leading game and a half. How about the Braves? We saw them, man. I was mighty impressed. Game and a half lead over the Mets. Phillies 2 games back. And the Nationals, if they win that one, will go 1 game above 500.
Billy may be looking for a stolen base right here. He'll do it against a tough couple of customers. Arondi Gonzalez very quick to the plate, and Real Muto behind the plate has been stingy giving up stolen bases this year. They've stolen 3. He has thrown out 3. Always among the league leaders in that respect, and he's coming out giving a little pep talk here.
Billy has swiped 5 bases. He's been caught stealing 1 time.
I'm not sure if Jim Riggleman's a big hit and run type manager. This might be a situation he would consider that.
Contact hitter at the plate.
Got a big right side of the infield wide open. They are playing Peraza to pull in the infield.
Well, that is the 7th walk of the night surrendered by Marlins pitching, and you would certainly like to see the Reds take advantage. Only one of those prior walks is scored. That was Blandino back in the first, in that 4-run first.
That's remarkable.
Yeah. 2-0. Hard hit ball. Boy, that's a nice play, even though they didn't turn it. The speedy Peraza running. 2 outs.
A nice play by Rojas, a shortstop. Took kind of a funky bounce on him. He was able to get the lead runner right there. Hamilton cut off at second base, but Peraza, as hard as he hit the ball, still was able to turn this into a fielder's choice instead of a double play ball.
Two outs. Alex Blandino at the plate. Left center field hit well. Going over and getting it is Brenson. Red strand a runner. 6 in the books. 4-1 Reds lead. For the Reds, Eugenio Suarez, 3-run bomb. Next batter, Adam Duvall. Opposite field, back-to-back home runs for the Reds and a 4 spot in the first. Sal Romano only gave up 3 hits tonight. He was lifted after 5 in the 3rd innings. Gave up just 1 run, walked 2, struck out 2 through 93 pitches, and a barehanded gem right there. Only run he gave up, Lewis Brinson, solo home run in the 5th. And that's where we stand right now as we head to the 7th inning here at Great American Ballpark on a beautiful Friday night. New pitcher on for the Reds, 4th pitcher of the night, righty Jared Hughes. He'll get the latter 3rd of the Marlins order.
Well, what a job Hernandez, David Hernandez, that is, coming in bases loaded last inning, getting out of that jam and by getting a couple of harmless fly balls.
So one note from that last half, Scooter Gennett pinch hit for the pitcher spot. The second baseman Blandino made the last out, so there was an opportunity to double switch and bring Scooter into the game.
Yeah, I thought that maybe Hughes would be a guy that would be in for multiple innings right here because they're trying to find a bridge.
Yeah.
To get to Raisel Iglesias. So if Hughes could cover the 7th and the 8th, you'd have Iglesias in the 9th if the score holds the way it is now.
I don't know if that's any indication of how that pregame workout went with Scooter and his throwing arm. Check on that, obviously going forward and into tomorrow. Counts 1-2 to Miguel Rojas. A couple of groundouts tonight, one of them a double play variety.
Oh, just off the air. How do you lay off that pitch? I'll tell you, the Reds didn't do a lot in the free agent market, but I really believe after the more I see Hernandez pitch, and we've already known about Hughes, 2 solid relievers, and you know what you're going to get when you open the bullpen gate.
You mean a charging thoroughbred? In the case of Hughes.
Are there such things as thoroughbred ostriches?
I don't know. We'll have to check. I imagine there's ostrich races somewhere on this planet. Here we are on the eve of the Derby. Talking about the thoroughbreds. Blandino was shading up the middle. Makes the play for the first out. Derby day tomorrow, Reds country.
We're going to have to check with Jeff Pecoro for all of our inside picks right there.
Joel Luckup, our famed statistician, goes right to the internet and pulls up. It's called Don't Lay an Egg Dash. Ostrich race. Canterbury Park.
Are people actually riding the ostriches?
Oh, I hope not. They're trying to.
They're trying to.
Okay. They fell off. Oh.
Brinson's has counted for the only Marlins offense of the night with that long home run to dead center field. The comparisons for Brinson to a former Marlin and a former Midland Redskin, Cameron Maben, you know, they're very similar build. When Maben first came up, kind of thin, not that he's bulked up or anything now, but I mean, kind of raw. And they're going to give this man a long leash to kind of take his lumps at the major league level and see if he can't pull himself back up.
Well, you don't have to look long for the comparison because Cameron Maben is on the Marlins bench tonight. Trying to cut down his swing a little bit from spring training, correct? Brinson?
Anytime you get a tall player like Brinson, that is usually the #1 thing that you have to do, the adjustment you make. Off-speed pitch and a strikeout.
Two outs, pinch hitter J.B. Shuck. 1-1 pitch. Here it comes. He's fielding his position. And a 1-2-3 inning by the Ostrich. Stretch time. A great American ballpark. With Reds Live, the pregame edition, brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. First look at the lineups, interviews, features, Tom's tidbits, and more. And tomorrow's probables, Caleb Smith will get the ball for the Marlins, and he will face righty Tyler Mahle. 6:30 tomorrow night for Reds Live here on Fox Sports Ohio. Bottom of the 7th, new pitcher on for Don Mattingly. Third of the night, righty Nick Whitgren.
Well, he's only been up a couple of weeks. Whitgren has. He had some off-season elbow issues that slowed his spring training down.
He will face the lefty Votto. You look down at the bullpen for Don Mattingly. They don't have a single lefty down there.
I was surprised to see that when the rosters first came out, and I'm sure that that's an area that was under evaluation. I wouldn't want to trade places with Don Mattingly and have to deal with that.
No, not at all. Prado, the third baseman, on the right side, and Rojas, the second base. No, Rojas, the shortstop, on the left-hand side. And now they're going to, with a 1-2 count, undo the shift.
Thinking that perhaps with 2 strikes, Votto is more likely to stay behind the ball and hit the ball to the third base side of the infield. I mean, they didn't think this up out of nowhere. I mean, this has come from, a lot of data points, and that data point was right on the outside corner.
That was a beautiful call. That data point was right on the outside corner. That was a big league call.
Couple of strikeouts, a line drive out, and a double for Votto.
After homering in the first, the Marlins have walked Suarez the next 2 times up. Here he is in the 7th. 1 out. Bidding for a second home run of the night there. Big doings in baseball all over the league tonight. We talked about that series in Mexico, Padres and Dodgers. Out west, sitting on 2,999 hits, won Albert Pujols. Did we check on if Bautista joined the Braves tonight? Strike three called. Back-to-back punch-outs here for Whitgren, both looking.
And both of them on fastballs almost in identical spots. That was a little bit more elevated than the one that Votto looked at.
Braves hosting the Giants, and indeed Bautista is not only in the lineup, he's 1 for 3. So add Bautista to a first place club and a lineup that can already hit. Giants leading that game 6-3 in the 7th. Other teams in the National League Central going head to head. Pirates and Brewers. Pirates a 5-1 lead in the 5th. Only 2 games separate the top 4 teams in the National League Central. Cardinals leading the Cubs 3-0 in the 4th. Mile high. With room is Brinson. Off to the 8th we go. Reds still holding on to that 4-1 lead.
The Star Wars flicks while playing hooky as a kid. Take a listen.
Luke Skywalker. Yeah, I mean, it's the hero, right? I loved him.
Jar Jar Binks, just because he's really funny, you know, and kind of a serious movie. And, you know, I like the way he talks and everything.
Tyler Malley, also a Star Wars fan. Those two were chatting about it pregame in the locker room. Guys, do you have favorite characters?
Ooh, mine would have to be Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Me, I think we ought to give equal time to Jabba the Hutt. When I retire, that's the kind of gig I want.
Well, we can make that happen.
The retirement part, yes.
Correct. Since you've retired me a few times in the last week.
I'm going to have to eat a lot of kale to get looking like that, right?
Well, you and your veggies. What a nice steakhouse with Chris Welsh. And can I have an entree of kale with a side of asparagus, please?
Well, we figured it would be a 2-inning stint for Jared Hughes, and here he is out here at the top of the order. This is the top of the order. They got it going in the 6th against Romano. It all started with a hit by pitch of the guy at the plate, Derek Dietrich.
So Jim Riggleman is hoping it plans out just like you talked about. Hughes covering Hernandez coming into the 6th, getting them out of trouble. He's hoping for a 2-inning stint here from Hughes and then turn it over to Iglesias. Might be sooner than that because Iglesias is already cranking it up. We'll see. 2-2 pitch. Hughes with a little frustration there in receiving that ball back from Barnhart. He's run the count to 3-2. Payoff pitch. Do it again.
Kind of interesting, really, when you look at the Marlins schedule so far this year. Right now they're 11-19. They played the Red Sox. They've been out west to play Colorado, Los Angeles. They've only played 2 teams in their division so far. The Phillies are 3-3 against the Phillies. Got a leadoff hit.
They had the second baseman Blandino shading over towards first base.
And they played only the New York Mets 3 times. So they've yet to play the Atlanta Braves, and they have yet to play the Washington Nationals.
Well, I can tell you firsthand, and you can as well, when they run into that Braves team, they're going to see a much improved squad.
I think they opened some eyes already in the league. I think you would have made a lot of money if you would have bet anybody that they would the Braves be in first place here. You know, at the beginning of May.
They could, if they're starting pitchers, the youngsters come through and maybe sign a veteran or two, you look out on that Braves team.
Well, it's a little early yet, but I think they've got some nice pieces. Yeah. Of course, the task at hand now for Jared Hughes is trying to get out of this inning. If he wants to stay in the game, I think he cannot have the tying run at the plate when the left-handed Bohr comes up.
Could be 2. And it is.
Now, the beautiful thing about being a sinker ball pitcher, you are 1 pitch away from a twin killing. And when Hughes gets it down around the knees, I mean, it is basically dropping right off a table. And you can try to elevate it, uppercut it, swing straight up if you want, but the chances are you're going to hit the top half of the ball and hit the ball in the ground.
Starlin Castro, 2 outs, 0 for 2 tonight, and a walk. His eyes open a little bit when Hughes is on the mound. Nearly swung his helmet off. Average sitting at .304 on the season for Castro. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Nice job, Jared Hughes. Protects a 4-1 lead. Gorgeous Friday night at the Yard, and new pitcher on for the Marlins. It's righty Junichi Tozawa.
He's 31 years old. He's a Japanese right-hander that is being his 15th game. He did most of his major league work when he first came over and signed with the Boston Red Sox at age 23. He's been around a long time. 55 games last year for Miami, and just about that number of games or more in his previous years with the Red Sox. I mean, he's a real workhorse.
And he will get Schebler, Barnhart, and a pinch hitter here in the 8th. Imagine that pinch hitter would be Jesse Winker. We'll see. Way out in front, 72 on the gun. A little extra hitch in the giddy up of Tozawa in his delivery. Couple of hitches. Counts 1 and 2. The Marlins have modified their shift already one time. But now you see it there. First part of this at bat, they had a defender shaded towards third base, but once again giving Schebler the entire left side nearly. Two and 2. You know, we've never seen that brace, elbow brace, that Schebler said he was going to eventually wear at the plate after getting hit by a pitch and being out on the disabled list. Strike 3 called.
That's a pretty professional combination of pitching right there that Tozawa dropped on him. First the fastball inside and then goes right out to the outer corner. And even the slightest hesitation is going to keep Schebler from pulling the trigger on that.
And now he'll tangle with Tucker Barnhart. Barnhart 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. And indeed, Jesse Winker has stepped into the on-deck circle for the Reds. Fisted towards second. Ball in on the hands, a Pac-Man ball. I'm even using your material now.
You know what? I didn't know it was stick.
Only because I wrote it down. All right, here comes Winker in his .302 average. Left-handed starter on tonight in Chin, which I imagine was the reason Winker's not in there, but it was the 4th time in the last 11 games he has not started. And that average above 300 and the on-base percentage above 400, even against a lefty starter, still at this point raises some eyebrows. Why he's not in the starting lineup. Now, Jim Riggleman has said this 4-man outfield rotation that Brian Price started with in the season and he inherited, he has said at some point it's going to go away. Someone's going to sit consistently. Who that is, we don't know. Whether he follows through, we don't know. Well, you would think Winker, who gets on again, would be one of the 3.
Man, this kid can hit.
Yes.
I mean, that's as good a swing as you will see in the major leagues right there. Fastball into part of the play. Look at the concentration. Nice level, quick approach to the hitting zone. That skill travels.
Yep. No question. Not the best defender, but when you can hit, they find you a place to play.
He's got room to work on that.
Yes, he does.
I mean, nobody shows up here at the major leagues completely finished.
Mm-hmm. .1-0 pitch to Billy Hamilton, breaking ball at 73. Reds would love a little insurance here with a 3-run lead. This will fall for a base hit. Not like Billy broke his bat, but served it up into left field. Hit it where they weren't.
Well, 3rd time tonight that Hamilton's been on base. A couple of walks and this little bloop to left field. You'll take it any time. Now the Reds finally have a chance to play a little bit of add-on and give Iglesias, who I presume will be the next pitcher in the top of the 9th inning, give him an extra run or 2 of insurance.
Winker at second, Hamilton at first. 2-out batters, Jose Peraza. Season average now at .301. Peraza's faced Tazawa one time. 0 for 1. One-0 pitch. Waited on it, but fouled it back. Swing and a miss. Tazawa climbs the ladder, and Peraza went chasing.
You know, Tazawa has that kind of pitch. It doesn't light up the radar gun in the high 90s, but it just kind of takes off on you a little bit. Very quick arm action. And he starts at the top of the zone, and by the time it gets there, it's around your chin. Probably going to drop the old hook on him right here.
Easy play for Dietrich. And the Reds will give the ball to Raisel Iglesias. Hope to close it down in the ninth. $15 could save you 15% on car insurance. And by Toyota for over 30 offers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Stick around after the game. While these fans will be enjoying the first Fireworks Friday night, the fireworks will also be happening from the Fox Sports Ohio condominium. As you look down on our humble home, post-game show presented by Performance Kings Honda will put a capper on this one. What we hope is a winning game as the closer Raisel Iglesias on the hill here in the ninth. And Iglesias will get the middle of the order for the Marlins. Justin Bohr, Brian Anderson, Martin Prado. Oh-2 pitch, popped it up. That is Suarez out on the grass. Out number one. And here's Brian Anderson. Anderson 1 for 3 tonight. Singled back in the second, was stranded. Again, the Reds, all their damage in the first inning tonight. 3-run home run Suarez. Solo home run Duvall. And Reds pitching is outside of the solo home run by Lewis Brinson. Has held on to that advantage after that 4-run first. Romano goes 5 1/3, 3 hits, 1 earned run. Peralta did not retire a batter. He faced 1 batter and walked him. What a job David Hernandez did coming into getting out of a bases loaded jam. And this is a base hit to center field. Jared Hughes followed him with 2 innings of work. 1 hit, no runs. Now Iglesias will have to work around a 1-out single. Martin Prado has faced Iglesias 1 time in his career, 0 for 1.
Now that's where you want to be if you're Iglesias, but you want to be able to get that called strike down there. Just a hair too low for Jerry Davis to ring him up on.
Hamilton's always playing shallow in center, but he's really shallow against Prado.
Well, being up by 3 has its advantages. You don't have to hold the runner on at first base because that run doesn't mean anything. Prado really at the plate doesn't mean anything. So you don't have to play prevent double defense, where you put your infielders on the line and you push your outfielders back.
3-1 pitch. 6, 4, 3. That's a double play. And that's the old ball game. Reds take game 1 of this 3-game set. Final score 4-1. Suarez leads the way with a 3-run home run. And a much needed victory for the home team here on Friday night. A winning post-game show coming up on Fox Sports Ohio.